Wait. Huh?
What the hell? Oh my God! Hey yo, what the fuck?
What is going on, guys? JC Needed here. And have you heard about this whole idea about bad employees being forced back into the office? Employees who don't want to take accountability for their work and being forced back into the office? Apparently that's a thing. So let's get into it. But before we get into it, if you don't mind doing me a favor, if this is your second time or more tuning into one of my videos, please feel free to give the video a like and to subscribe if you feel so too inclined, because it really helps with the algorithm and I appreciate it. And with that, let's talk about this.
Some of you just really think I don't know what I'm talking about. Some of you don't believe me. Meanwhile, I posted about this last week. I said, be so good at your job that the RTO rules don't apply to you. And people were in the comments being like, that's not true. You don't know. She's not in that company. She doesn't know. They check our badges. Oh, the Wall Street Journal. You think the Wall Street Journal doesn't know? You think the Wall Street Journal isn't in that company, so they don't know? The new hybrid work hierarchy means star employees get to work from home. Be so good that the rules don't apply to you. You think I'm sitting here in my phone making this up? I'm not.
Okay, so she's pointing to one article to back up what she's saying about how if you're a really good employee that you don't have to succumb to the return to office mandates. And listen, I think she's right, but there's also a caveat here. So some companies are just doing mass return to office mandates no matter who you are, no matter how good of an employee you are. Some companies aren't taking into account what you do or how well you do it. For example, there's a video I did about how Dell has a rule that if you live within 1 hour of the office, you have to come into the office. What does that mean? That means you could be a super high performer. You could be a badass performer, but because you live 30 minutes from the office, you got to go in. Whereas Bob eating Cheetos all day, watching TikTok videos and not get any work done, or barely any work done, but because he lives more than an hour away, he doesn't have to come back in. So in that scenario, what she's saying doesn't apply. If you're a good worker or if you're a bad worker, it's all about your distance. But with that being said, she has a point that if you are a rock star employee, that's a cliche term they use in HR a lot, a rock star employee or a badass employee, you do have more leverage than someone who is not that great. And so if, let's say that they're trying to figure out who comes in and who doesn't, now they're trying to say everyone's coming back into the office, you might go to your boss and say, hey, listen, I can't come back in because of XYZ. I really love the company. I love to stay here. But if I have to come back in, I'll have to look elsewhere. And because you're so good at what you do, they go, you know what, Jim, you can keep working from home. Don't worry about it. So I can see what you're saying. And I can also see it as companies saying, listen, let's get rid of all these low performers and force them to come back in because we know the low performers aren't going to want to come in anyway. So I can see both sides. But with that, let's go ahead and hop into another one and see what this guy has to say about accountability and how it relates to whether or not you come back into the office if you're a good or bad worker.
Oh, joy. Like I said in my other comment, this changes nothing regarding accountability. See, I've worked remote for the last 13 years. My supervisor lives in Texas. I have team members that are in Utah, in Florida, in Texas, in Washington, D.C., in South Carolina, and Illinois. We're all over the place. Not a single one of the members of my team live in the same geographic location I do. So if you force me into an office, like it's being discussed, I'm still doing remote work. I'm not with my supervisor. I'm not with my team. I'm not with anyone I work with or does the same exact work I do. I will still be doing the same exact work, different from every other single person in that office. My supervisor will not be there to watch them doing, just like he is not now. It has nothing to do with accountability. It will not change accountability whatsoever. We will end up getting less work done. It's going to cost the government more money. How is that good? When it costs the government more money, morale is going to be lower, and you get less productivity. Again, it has nothing to do with accountability because there's been nobody at this office that I'm going to be forced to make me accountable. I'm not going to be reporting to any person in that office. They're going to be checking in on me or seeing what I'm doing. Not only that, these offices don't have space for us.
All right, so he's being repetitive now, but he's basically saying that he's a good employee, right? And so because he's a good employee, he shouldn't have to go back into the office, especially because his whole team is remote and dispersed. And what the person that left the comment to him is saying is that he doesn't want to take accountability for some reason. I'm not sure why. And so essentially the idea is that he's a good employee. Why do I have to go back? Not to mention everyone else was remote anyways, which again is a good point to say that if you are a good employee, you have more leverage. Now, if he was a poor performer, then maybe them forcing him back into the office would be their way of trying to get rid of him, like we talked about before, which is happening. I mean, a lot of companies aren't saying it except for maybe the federal government who's saying, hey, we know that by forcing people back into the office, we're going to have some people that voluntarily resign and voluntarily quit. So, a lot of corporate companies may be following suit, but not saying it explicitly. So what he's saying is that I'm accountable, I'm a good employee, I don't have to go back into the office. And that's kind of the idea. If you're a bad employee, they're saying, hey, get your butt back in. If you're a good employee, you have some more leverage. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think that, have you seen it? And personally, if you're a great employee, if you're not a good employee and you're a bad employee, you're probably not going to tell me in the comment section, but have you noticed with maybe some of your coworkers that maybe don't perform as well, that they're getting less favorable treatment from management and perhaps they're being forced to come back, whereas some higher performers, maybe like you, don't have to abide by those same rules? I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Feel free to give the video a like and subscribe. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.